Happy Halloween! I have a really scary, frightening story for you about something that happened to me yesterday. I was canceled by our new house cleaner before she even started because of my views. So I'm going to sit back and tell you all about it. But first, I want to show you my Halloween costume. Every year, I wear my Chachi t-shirt. And then I'm just going to turn it here to the photo on my computer. I've got my name on the back in silver. We used to do that. Remember the dog's ear? And yeah, you get your name, like your favorite picture put on the front. And then they press down and put your name on the back. And my flare legs and my clogs, but enough about that. I got to tell you this crazy story because, wow. I'm just going to adjust this, sorry. Okay, so you look at my Chachi shirt. So, as you know, some of you know, my house is up for sale. Our house is up for sale, and we're leaving the country. But the sale fell through, so we've taken it off the market for now. And I like my job where I am, and I'm making pretty good money. And I've just been feeling kind of tired. I think a lot of us freedom keepers and fighters are feeling tired. And the big theme of the day is rest, right? Be still, so you can hear, and be faithful, have faith. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to be able to have more time for me, for Bible study, for doing these stories, for just fun time, right? So I thought to myself, hey, I'm gonna hire a cleaner. I wonder if I can find somebody to clean the house every 2 weeks, because I'm making pretty good money, and then, you know, that helps like somebody with their own business make a bit of money. It's just a good thing. So I texted my realtor a couple of days ago and said, hey, do you know anybody who cleans houses? And oh yeah, like we have one, I'll get back to you. And he got hold of her and he sent me her phone number. Yeah, she's fine. Like she'd like to talk to you. So we text and we agree on meeting here yesterday at 3 o'clock. So I get home and she shows up. She seems really nice. We're just yik-yakking about cleaning and everything. And of course, you know, and I explained to her that we're leaving the country, why we took the house off the market for winter, that we don't want to be liquidating all of our furniture and everything in the middle of like 10 feet of snow. Fair enough. And she asked why I'm leaving. So in my usual Katie style, of course I tell her, you know, because our country's going to shite and we're not happy. And she's nodding and, oh yeah, you know, she seems like she gets it. She's mentioning that her husband hunts, and so, you know, I'm thinking she's probably pretty with it. And then, you know, so giving her the tour around the house, and I'm very chatty, so we're talking some more. And she's asking about the best time when she could come and clean, what time we're out of the house. And I'm like, oh, we're out of here at 7:30. And she's like, oh, wow, where do you work? So I tell her, which I'm not going to say on here, but it's connected, right, to working with kids in schools, and I work at a private one. So she's like, oh, do you work in all the different schools? And I said, no, I actually chose, I left that. I just choose to work in a private one. And she asked, you know, oh, why is that? And I said, well, honestly, I don't agree with a lot of things that they're pushing in the mainstream schools. And I kind of elaborated on it. And also, I was being very kind. And at one point, I even stopped and said, oh, am I saying too much? Like, I talk a lot. So if I'm offending you, I don't mean to. I'm just really open about things. Oh, no, I'm fine. Okay, you know, so we're talking and just, you know, about the goings on with women and children and washrooms. And I'm kind of talking cryptically here, so my YouTube video can stay up. But, so anyway, we're just chatting. I'm just being me, not being mean or, you know, insulting her and talking about anybody, just saying I love everyone. I have friends who are, you know, colorful, that even disapprove of just the way things are going, like so extreme. And I love everyone, and I would, hey, walk with people in a march beside them if their rights were being violated, but things are just going too far. So that's about it. And then we get outside And we're talking now, like we're standing by her truck. And I don't know what came up about religion or something. And she said that she didn't believe in religion. And I said, no, me neither. I go to Bible study. And she was saying she didn't like church. And before she said that, she said, oh, I want to say this, but I don't want to sound offensive. I said, I'm unoffendable. Like, you can say anything. I'm not easily offended, but I know that many people are. So again, I'm sorry if I've said too much. Oh, no, I'm fine. And then she starts to talk and she says, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of churches. I don't like what's going on in there. And, you know, just all the goings on that make people not trust church. I said, totally agree. That's why I go to Bible study, and a lot of us feel that way too. So we're chatting, and I did, you know, tell her like my beliefs. I said, you know, I used to, you know, have Reiki level 3 and spirituality, but you know, I've kind of really drifted away from that because what I'm learning is that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So I'm just going that route. I'm not someone that wants to bother people all the time. And the good news is you don't have to. You just share it with somebody once that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life for everlasting life. And that's that. So she's fine, right? She gets in the truck and she drives away. So as I'm walking down in my yard, there's this bird. It's like not a quail. What the heck are they called now? They're all grouse. It's this little grouse, like they make really big noise with their wings. And it flies into the yard, and he's just kind of hanging around, so I'm just like checking him out, talking to him. And as I just kind of snuck up a little bit, you know, to get close, he just like flies away, and right in front of my eyes, like I'm outside, he just like flies straight into my dining room window. Boom. And I watch him drop. I'm like, right? So I actually ran first to the greenhouse and grabbed my garden gloves. And I ran down the side of the house through the garden. And I find him sitting on top of a planter box. And he's stunned. And I'm thinking, like, is your wing broken? And so I picked him up. And I just pet this bird. And I brought him up to the top of the yard, to the top of the compost box. And I just put him there, and he just stayed there, but he didn't move. And I'm like, oh, okay. And in the meantime, I'm kind of wondering, like, I guess I should just give him some time and see if he flies away. And I put him up high so that, you know, he had a little something for liftoff. And by now, like 2 other little grouse are coming in the yard. So I'm like, oh, there's your buddies. So I'm thinking, well, when my husband gets home, we'll just see what happens if this bird's still okay, or if he has to put it out of its misery. And I wanted to take him and throw him sort of to see if he'd fly. And I'm like, no, don't mess with nature. Just wait. So all of a sudden I come back in the house and I look at my phone, and there is the cleaner texting me saying, I can't clean for you anymore. I'm on my way back and I'm returning your key. And I just knew. I'm just like, oh fuck. Yeah, I said too much. Like, I scared her off. And I'm thinking, well, maybe, you know, you don't know, right? Maybe she's had some emergency come up in her family, but the timing right away, we're like, Like, as I talked with her, she would nod and agree, but there was 1 or 2 times where her eyes just stayed still. And I'd be like, sorry, I talk a lot. I'm probably being really rude, or, oh no, I'm fine. It's fine. So, okay. So I wait. I go up in the yard, and she comes driving up in her truck, and she just gets out really like super uncomfortable with the key. And she's like, so yeah, thank you. Here's your key. And thank you for considering me. And I said, so it was what I said then. So I offended you. And she goes, yeah, I drove home, and I just didn't know what to say when you were talking, and I just got home and thought, I can't do this for you. And I said, all right then. Well, I wish you'd said something. It's not like you're gonna see me. You wouldn't have to ever see me again, really. I would just be leaving you money. She's like, no. I'm like, okay, carry on. Have a nice day. So this gets wild. I walk away. She's driving out of my driveway. I start to walk and I'm like, like, this is embarrassing. Like, this is not the first person I've scared off. When we were down in Costa Rica, in Gracia, that's a whole other story. And I made my views quite known that I didn't think, like, we'd been having a really good talk at this expat lunch. And it had come up about like why people were leaving Canada and why we're all so divided. And so partly of just the things that are sort of being forced on us right now, we were talking about, and everyone seemed to be in agreement. So when I'm backtracking, right? I'm talking about being down in Gracia, Costa Rica, a couple months ago. So then when we're sitting there, all of a sudden when this woman who had greeted us got up, she made this announcement and said, oh, I just want you to know that, you know, we have a monthly Bible study or monthly church group that you can come to. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And then her second thing is, oh, and we have like a weekly Democrat meeting. I'm like, I'm thinking I gotta go to the bathroom. I don't want to hear any more that she has to say. So I kind of look at the lady next to me who I've been talking to the whole time. And just as I'm standing up, the woman says, oh, and we've reserved a bus and we're getting a bus to go to Pride in San Jose. And I just turned and looked at this woman and went, I said, you see, this is what's pissing me off. I said, it's just like having a big dick shoved in your face. I said, this is a conservative Catholic country and people come down here and they say, don't take their land and, you know, don't be a jerky gringo and all these things. But then they come down and they're shoving like their ideology on a population that doesn't want it. They've left countries that are divided because of this. And the woman looks at me and goes, well, I'm really offended now. I'm like, whoa. And my husband's kind of looking like, oh shit, like what is Katie? He'd see me whispering and then he saw her like freak out like I'm really offended. So he was kind of mad at me because she's a Canadian and she used to be like a stockbroker and knew a lot about investing your money. And she was telling me about Australian Bitcoin, like cryptocurrency exchanges have these laws where Australians, like, they can't tell your country anything about you, where the US, like Coinbase, they can. So she was suggesting that we put all our money in there, which my gut scrunch. I don't think you should put all your eggs in one basket. You should diversify and have some gold and some silver and some crypto and some cash and, you know, a bit of investments. So that was interesting. My husband was kind of mad at me, but later on we laughed our guts out about it. And I said, yeah, rejection's God's protection. Like maybe he didn't want us hearing that advice. So yesterday I'm thinking like, oh geez, like this is gonna be really embarrassing now to tell my husband that the new cleaner just quit before she even started because she was so horrified at my views. So I'm happy to say as soon as he came home, I kind of stood there in the mudroom like, and he's like, oh God, what? I'm like, well, the cleaner's already quit before she started. He's just like, what did you do? So yeah, we can finish each other's sentences that way. And you know what? He fucking howled. If she's a libtard, we don't want her in here anyway. So we just howled. Like it was so funny. And, but I gotta get back to the story now. I didn't finish the story. Okay, sorry, I'm being scattered. When she drove out of the driveway, when she left, okay, this is before my husband got home. I'm jumping back into the cleaning lady and the bird. So as she leaves, I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm still like, oh, geez, what have I done? Like, I start walking down the driveway and I look over at the bird sitting there on the platform. Now he's been sitting there for like almost an hour now, 45 minutes. And I turn and look at him and I'm not kidding. He just like spreads his wings and just flew off. It was honestly just like, it was like God saying, let her go, let it go. But it was also like, as I was wandering, right? As I was wandering down back to my house towards where this bird was sitting and scared this lady off, I'm like, geez, God, Like, am I just going too far? I wasn't mean or anything, but I just spoke my truth. Like, are you sure this is really the way you want me going? Like, I know, like, no comparison at all, but like Charlie Kirk was salty, gave salt and love. And so, and I've had a priest confirm to me that keep doing your freedom fighting and your love and salt. Like, he loved it. And so I'm just thinking, are you sure, God? Like, is this what you want me to do? And just like as I'm having that conversation in my head, I look at that bird and it just flies right off. And she's fine. You're fine. She's fine. Let it go. So I'm thinking, okay, like, as I kind of, got too close to the bird, I kind of scared it away and it flew into my window. The feather was still stuck. Actually, yeah, it's gone now. It came off. But when my husband got home, I showed him the window. He's like, holy crap. Like, the feather was still stuck to the window where the bird slammed. And I was feeling responsible, like that, if I hadn't kind of bothered nature and gotten too close, the bird wouldn't have flown away like that and hit the window. But, he lived. I picked him up and he flew away. The bird was fine. And I think that's a message that keep giving love and salt. Yes, it will scare people away and it might hurt them, but they're going to be fine. We need humanity to be fine, right? So it's really important. If you get anything out of this message at all, it's happy Halloween. And just remember that we need to keep doing what we're doing. And, there was not one part of me that was really rude or ignorant, but she must have thought I was hateful. Maybe there's somebody she's close to that, is in a colorful community. And she just took that as hateful language. Or maybe it was like the religious talk. I don't know. She wouldn't tell me. And I prayed for her because I was saying to my husband and to my neighbor, she came over and we were laughing about it. Because we were like, think about being that insecure that you're having a conversation with someone and it's totally bothering you, but you're nodding and smiling like it's just fine, it's just fine. And then on her drive home, she's having a slow boil because it wasn't fine. And then has to come all the way back and return the key. So my end point is I've been a few months without any work. And so God took care of me, like just dribbles and drabbles and things just kept coming in. That is always what my husband and I say. The money just comes, the money just flows. Like when you're not chasing things, they come. So don't chase, right? Just do the right thing and things will come. So God took care of me in that regard. And so my new job that I started had accidentally shorted me 2 days. So when they put them on the following check, I had a really nice big check. And so I realized that after I paid all my bills, I still had a bit left over. So I donated $200 to the food bank because where I live, it burnt down and they've got a new location, but I just been meaning to help. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it right now while I have the money. So yesterday, that was my second message that I felt like came through spirit, like through God, through me, was a little whisper in my ear that you can clean the house yourself, lady. You don't need a cleaner. Give that money to the food bank. Like it was going to be $200, right? She was going to come and clean every 2 weeks for 3 hours. And I just felt, whether my own wisdom, but I really felt it was God saying, you can do that yourself. I'd rather see you give that money to the food bank to help somebody that's hungry. And I thought, okay, I guess that's how it's going to go. So that just kind of burnt out before it even got started. Anyway, I'm still a big fan of getting people to clean. If you know someone that has a business, it just helps them, especially if it's a woman or she's on her own or has kids to feed. But that's it. So have a great Halloween. I hope you had fun if you dressed up. Funny, but not everybody considers Halloween like satanic or pagan. Tomorrow was All Saints Day. And in some cultures or religions, it's thought to be that that's the day that you sort of like cast out all the spirits, cast out all the bad spirits or the demons. So whatever you're up to, have fun. Hope your kids have fun. Keep it safe and get some fireworks going off. Yay. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Okay, hang on. I'm not finished. I forgot to tell you another part. My neighbor comes over and we're laughing at the insanity of this lady. And we start looking up this Dr. Broner's cleaning solution that she told me she uses. She was, she was great. Like, had all kinds of good advice, which I wrote down, which is handy because I'll be doing my own cleaning. But my friend starts looking, we're going to go halfers on it, right? She's like, hey, let's look it up. And she looks on Amazon and she starts reading me the label on the side of the bottle. And it was insane. And I'm going to post it here for you before I end off. And yeah, it's got this message about like Christ and unity, unifying people together. And it was just bizarre because God was all through this story. And then there he is, like on the side of the cleaning solution that she uses. So I just prayed. I hope she reads it. I hope God touches her and makes her realize I'm not a monster. I'm just speaking my truth. But it's so funny. Anyway, that's it. Night.